Most people would never intentionally hurt their dog. That is what makes this topic uncomfortable, because the damage usually doesn't come from cruelty, it comes from love that is slightly misread, routines that seem harmless, and habits that look normal enough to go unquestioned for years. You feed them, walk them, protect them, and still there can be small moments where your dog is learning something you never meant to teach. Not that you are safe, but that you are unpredictable. Not that their signals matter, but that they are easy to miss. And once that pattern settles in, the relationship starts changing in ways that rarely look dramatic at first. A little more tension, a little less softness. A dog who loves you, but with more caution mixed into it than before. The hardest part is that many of these behaviors are common, even among good owners, which means your dog may have been trying to tell you something for a long time, and you simply didn't know how to see it. Most owners use their dog's name constantly, and on the surface that feels like connection. But if your dog hears their name right before nail trims, baths, the end of play, or being pulled away from something enjoyable, recall begins to change meaning. It stops feeling like an invitation and starts feeling like a trap. That shift is subtle at first. Your dog still comes, but more slowly. They hesitate. They look at you and seem to calculate. What you are watching is not stubbornness. It is conflict. Your dog wants to trust the cue, but experience keeps interfering. A dog should feel relief when you call them. If they feel suspicion instead, something important has already started to erode. A sleeping dog looks irresistible. The face softens, the breathing slows. The whole body seems peaceful enough to pull you in. So people touch, cuddle, move, or speak to them without thinking much of it. The problem is that rest is not empty time for a dog. It is where the nervous system comes back down and where safety is tested most honestly. If your dog keeps getting disturbed in those moments, they do not just lose sleep. They lose confidence in sleep itself. You may later notice them resting more lightly, changing spots more often, or choosing places farther away. A dog who cannot fully settle is carrying more stress than they should, and many owners never connect that stress to the tiny interruptions that caused it. There is a version of affection that feels warm to humans and intrusive to dogs. It happens when a dog turns their head away, licks their lips, stiffens slightly, or moves off, and the human continues anyway because the moment still feels loving from their side. What makes this damaging is not one moment. It is the repeated lesson underneath it. Your dog learns that discomfort does not end the interaction. That saying, "not right now," in dog language, changes nothing. And once that lesson sinks in, one of two things usually happens. Some dogs become quieter and more shut down. Others become sharper because subtle signals stopped working and they had to escalate. People often think a good walk is measured by distance, speed, or tiredness, but many dogs are not craving a workout as much as they are craving access to the world. When every walk is hurried, every sniff is shortened, and every pause is treated like a delay, the dog is technically outside but not really allowed to experience being outside. That matters more than it seems. Sniffing is how many dogs orient, decompress, gather information, and regain a feeling of control. A rushed walk can leave a dog physically exercised and mentally unsatisfied, which is why some dogs come home tired in the body and restless in the mind. Sometimes the hurt is not in what we deny outright. It is in what we never let fully happen. Dogs do not need perfection, but they depend on patterns. If your energy swings hard from affectionate to irritated, playful to impatient, present to dismissive, your dog starts scanning you instead of relaxing around you. They begin reading tone, movement, and facial expression with more caution than ease. This does not require shouting to do damage. Even ordinary inconsistency can create it. One day the dog is welcomed onto the couch, the next day they are scolded for the same thing. One day excitement is funny, the next day it is too much. To a human, these feel like minor mood-based decisions. To a dog, they are unstable rules inside an important relationship. And unstable rules create unstable behavior. There are moments when a dog genuinely does know what you want, and moments when they clearly do not. Many owners confuse the second kind for the first. The dog is slow to respond, distracted, over threshold, or simply unsure, and the human interprets that as refusal. Pressure rises. The voice hardens. Correction comes in. What hurts the relationship here is not just the discomfort. It is the unfairness of it from the dog's point of view. They were not resisting with clear intent. They were lost. And being corrected while confused does something dangerous. It makes learning feel risky. A dog who is afraid of being wrong does not become more thoughtful. They become more anxious and less willing to engage. Many dogs live in routines where humans control nearly every valuable thing. Food appears by human decision. Walks begin and end by human decision. Space, play, access, movement, and attention are all managed from one side. Some structure is necessary, of course. But when a dog has almost no meaningful choices, frustration starts building in quiet ways. Choice is not the opposite of leadership. It is often part of what makes leadership feel fair. Which toy to take, which route to sniff first, whether to be touched now or later. These seem small, but they tell your dog something essential. Your inner world exists here too. Without that message, obedience can still exist, but trust becomes thinner than it looks. A growl makes people uncomfortable because it sounds like a problem already in motion, so they shut it down. They scold, startle, or punish it, hoping to make the behavior disappear, but the growl was not the danger. It was the warning before the danger. When you punish a growl, you do not remove discomfort. You remove the signal that announces discomfort. That can leave you with a dog who looks calmer on the surface while feeling exactly the same underneath. The better question is never, how do I stop the growl? It is, what made my dog feel they needed it? The growl was honesty. If honesty becomes unsafe, the relationship gets more fragile. Some owners want affection when it suits them and space when it doesn't. They call the dog over for comfort, then push them away when they are busy. They invite closeness, then resent the dog for expecting it again. Over time, this can make the dog's approach feel uncertain. The dog is not being needy in a vacuum. They are trying to understand the rules of closeness with someone they care about deeply. And if those rules keep shifting based only on your convenience, your dog begins to approach with less confidence. Some become clingier because they cannot predict access. Others withdraw because approaching has become emotionally expensive. This may be the quietest harm of all. Not yelling, not punishing, not doing one clearly harmful thing, just waiting for the problem to become obvious before believing anything is wrong. But dogs rarely begin with obvious. They begin with whispers, a slower recall, less softness in the eyes, more tension in the body, less willingness to rest deeply. By the time a dog is loud about their discomfort, they have often been quiet about it for a long time. And that is the deeper point in all of this. The relationship between you and your dog is always being shaped, even in ordinary moments, even in habits that seem too small to matter. What hurts a dog is not always harshness. Sometimes it is repeated misunderstanding. Sometimes it is love expressed in ways the dog cannot actually receive. And once you realize that, you begin to look for a different kind of truth as well. Not just the things that strain the bond, but the behaviors that reveal where the bond is strongest, clearest, and most personal. That is exactly where we are going next in 10 Things Dogs Only Do with Their Favorite Person and what they really mean. Because once you understand the signs of quiet damage, you are finally ready to recognize the signs of deep devotion.